If you were uninspired by this weekend's games in the wild card round, imagine if the playoffs were expanded and you had an extra weekend of some of these poor games. That's one of the things that Eric Edholm wrote about in his Shorts and Shells column this week. And Eric, a couple weeks ago, Roger Goodell floated the idea of expanding the playoffs. This is not the first time we've heard this, but with all the things going on in the NFL, we know it's all about money. It's not a shock that they would talk about this and even vote for it at some point. When you watch some of these games this weekend, you had to think to yourself, I don't know if I want to see a lot more of this.
Right, exactly. I mean, you look at the teams that missed out. I mean, maybe the Bears would have been better prepared to handle the Packers. I mean, obviously we didn't know that Christian Ponder's injury was coming, but you can't tell me that the Cowboys were better than some of these other teams, or that, you know, the Steelers were better than the Bengals. These are teams that are marginal. They're average. They're just getting in. And so the number 6 seeds in both the AFC and NFC look pretty bad in their playoff games. I don't want to see more of this. I don't want to see 2 more teams on each side. Certainly not 1. I just don't think it's a good idea. Now, like you said, money. It's all about this, right? And an extra game or 2 on each side certainly would bring that. It would bring higher ratings. They could say, hey, you know, there's no problem with attendance at games. There's no problem. We've got this TV revenue coming in, but the players have already rejected an 18-game schedule. They say they don't want it. It's already off the table at this point. I would think an expanded playoff menu would be the same thing.
You know, we saw Major League Baseball expand their playoffs by 1 team this year, and we know a big part of that was Bud Selig wanting that 1-game playoff.
Yeah.
And one of the complaints about that is you get these teams that sneak into that wild card, have to go play somebody that was much better than during the season, and if it's just 1 game. We saw it with the Cardinals and the Braves. And in the NFL, the 1-game system, you could see that again, where a team like, it was maybe an 8 seed in the conference comes in, they have 1 good day,
right,
and they knock off a team. Some people might like that parity, but you're also got a watered-down product there.
Absolutely. And you're not rewarding the top 2 seeds for their terrific regular seasons. I really think that's part of the greatness of the system, is that you can play for a bye week. There's a reason to play in Week 17. So maybe the playoffs add more games, but then Week 17, you see some teams resting starters because there's nothing to play for. But you've got teams like Denver and Houston, New England this year. We're all kind of down to it. The last battle of the season there. They wanted to get that top 2 seeds, and you know, the Houston lost out, and they had to go play on the first weekend. That to me is a big reward for them.
Roger Goodell, it's his job to continue to make this game better. To think it could even get any better than it is right now, the most popular sport in America,
Sure.
Just a complete cash cow. We've seen it with the NCAA tournament. They expand games. Everyone complains. Then everyone's okay with it. You know, people might get used to the new wild card in baseball after a couple years. If the NFL expands the playoffs, fans might complain for a couple years, and then they might get used to it and be excited about another week of playoffs.
Absolutely, and it would never go back. I doubt they'd ever change it. And besides the kickoff rule, I can't think of too many things that have gone back. Maybe instant replay, but most changes that are enacted, they tend to stick, and we just sort of, like you said, sort of just get used to status quo. In this league, I think there's too often change for change's sake, and I just think it's something that the league's got to get out of the habit of doing and just trying to think of ways to tweak the game and make it better. Sometimes the product you have is the best one you have.
Well, I'm not sure if this was you who mentioned it, but I'll give you credit anyways. You expand the playoffs, you expand the referee pool. Somebody brought that up during the Ravens-Colts game. It means you get lower-seeded referees officiating some of these playoff games, and we know that's something fans will always complain about. Well, let's see more Eric's take on this issue and more of his observations from Wild Card Weekend. Check out his Shorts and Shells column at our website, ProFootballWeekly.com.